Okay, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm getting really tired of hearing authors coming up with all kinds of BS reasons why their book failed, why they've never sold enough copies of their book. It's not the publisher's fault. It's not the book's fault. It's your fault. And I'm going to prove it in this show.
Hey, I'm Ken. I used to be a homicide detective. I was a cop for over 15 years, and I got sick of it. When I found out I was going to become a dad, I needed to make a change. In the last 15 years, I've started 4 different businesses in 4 different industries, and they've made a lot of money. This channel is dedicated to showing people exactly how to build an 8-figure coaching business. Every single part of it. I love teaching people how to write books, how to get your books traditionally published, how to turn those books into 7-figure coaching businesses, and you're going to find all that information right here.
Hey friends, welcome back. Hey, I'm glad to be with you guys. Listen, as I'm going to start doing every day from now on, I am going to recommend a book to you that I've published, that I've helped the author write and publish. Every time I meet with you from now on, I'm going to give you a link to buy it. And today's book is called Leadership in a Digital Age. This book was written by Robert Verbry. He's got 30 years of experience as a police officer, and the book is awesome. It was written incredibly well. It's engaging. If you're somebody that's trying to take your leadership skills to the next level, then click the link, grab yourself a copy of Leadership in a Digital Age. It's a great book. Okay, so let's talk about this whole challenge. I've been helping people to write books for literally over a decade. I've helped over 3,000 people to write self-help books. These are books specifically that are designed to help other people. If you're somebody that wants to know how to write a book that's not going to fail and that will sell itself, then in the notes to this show, there's a link to a very special masterclass that I'm hosting called Basic Simple System. And I want you to check it out. The secret is writing the book so that it takes the reader on a journey and it gets your ego out of the way and it helps them to solve a problem. And I'm going to explain this in this show today because, over the last decade, I have spent a significant amount of time studying books. I've studied hundreds of New York Times best-selling books and Wall Street Journal best-selling books, trying to find the similarities in the books and in how they're written in order to reaffirm or prove that the strategy I teach people works and it continues to be relevant. The other thing that I've done, whenever I get a chance, I try to engage in conversations with people who have written books, but they're not happy with their results. They don't sell enough books. The books fail. And friends, it's not hard to find people that fit into this category. This is the saddest part of the story. And it's probably why you're watching this video, given the headline of the video, but it's something I really want to share with people because here's the statistics. Last year in the United States, over 500,000, so 500,000 nonfiction self-help business books. So these are books that are written around your story and you want to write the book to help other people. Over 500,000 of them were published. That's self-publishing and traditional publishing, but this is the scary part. This is the part that makes me sad. Actually, this is the part that motivated me to launch the business that I have today and to help people. 90% of those books fail. So that's 450,000 books that failed last year. You want to know the scariest part of this story? Is I've been telling people that for over a decade. So 10 years ago, the first time that I discovered this, it was the same statistic. 90% of nonfiction self-help books fail every single year. Year after year after year. But books like this, books that are written using the system that you're going to learn about if you come to this workshop, they don't fail. So what's fail mean? It means they sold less than 100 copies and the author was disappointed with the results. Now, you're probably saying the skeptics, there's always going to be skeptics here whenever I do these shows. The skeptic's going to say, well, Ken, if your system works so well, how come you haven't changed the odds and changed the results? How come you haven't moved the needle in 10 years? It's because the needle is so freaking big. In the last 10 years, I've helped over 3,000 authors to write books. Think about that number. It's a massive freaking number. But compared to the amount of people that write books, I'm still beating the drum, and I'm going to beat the drum for the rest of my life. But forget about that, because if you want to be skeptical about this, then just move on. You're not going to pay attention to what I'm telling you anyway. You're not going to believe the information that I'm sharing with you, even though I can prove this to you. If you come to the Basic Simple System workshop, I'll prove it to you. But let me go through it now just to kind of say my piece about this. And I just hope, listen, if you've written a book and you're not happy with the results, you can still get back on track with it. And it's all about how you sell the book. And it's accepting some things in your mind, which I'll go through today. So watch this video. If you haven't written a book yet, but you're thinking about it, I'm super relieved that you're watching this right now, that you're listening to this show right now. And I just pray that you do exactly what I tell you in this show. All right, so let's talk about what makes a book successful. Have you ever been given a book yourself? Has somebody ever given you a book that they've written, and they gave it to you because they said they wanted your feedback on it, but they really wanted you to read the book? And it was a book, it was a self-help book that they penned themselves, and they wanted you to read it. Have you ever been given a book like that? If you have, go into the notes for this show and just say, yes, I've been given a book like that. Okay, here's the question. I want you to be completely honest with me. Did you finish reading it? I know the answer already. And please, if you're watching this show, the only way I know if this is helpful for you, if you appreciate me taking the time to do this, is by your notes inside of the show. So go into the notes and do that. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, then subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to save you. If you're trying to build an online business, this channel is completely dedicated to building a 7-figure coaching business, starting by writing a book. You do that so you get clear on your content. Anyway, let's get into this. The very first thing that I tell every single author who comes into our community is that if you really want a book to be successful and to beat the odds, then your book has to be written in such a way that other people will recommend your book. I always say that a book's never going to become a best-selling book unless somebody who doesn't know you recommends the book to somebody who doesn't know you. So let's talk about all those books that you've all been given and you never finished reading. Here's why. When you got into the book and you started reading it, it became very boring for you because the person in the first couple chapters was just meandering on telling their story. There was really no content in it. Now, for you that wrote a book and it failed, hearing this, you're going to get offended by that right away. You're going to be like, oh, there's lots of content. There's lots of value in my story, because in my story, I explain what I went wrong and how I fixed it. But it's the way you frame it that fails. When people start reading your book and the first chapter in the book starts off with your story, you lose them immediately, because they've already read all kinds of failed books like that and they're painful to get through and they can't stop. So how do you fix this? Number one, you ask yourself, who's my ideal reader and what's the problem they're going through? And then you use a proprietary framework for structuring your book up front that still allows you to tell your stories all the way through the book, but it restructures the content so that focuses on the reader and the reader's engagement. Inside of the Basic Simple System workshop, I'm going to explain this to you in more detail so you can actually follow through and write your book the first way. Hey, listen, if you've already written a book, even if you don't want to rewrite it, come to the workshop so you can understand. At least you can understand, because right now you're blaming your publisher. And although in the self-publishing industry, I know for a fact in the self-publishing industry, there's a lot of idiots out there, publishers, that make all these stupid promises. Man, if you publish this book, it's going to become a bestseller. And I know that to be the fact because that's what happened to me with my first book. It failed miserably. And I did have a publisher who told me that she was going to make it a New York Times bestseller, but I didn't know any better. What I did differently is, you've never heard me complain about it, because I decided to get better instead of being bitter. That's probably the subject of another video. So step one in not failing and having a successful book is to make sure it's written properly. The next thing I want to talk to you about today, though, this is even more important, and I hope that this recording reaches the ears of everybody that's in my writing community right now, and as well for people that are thinking about it. The reality is, let me just first of all clear up some confusion, even in the self-publishing space, so that you don't get scammed by a self-publisher in the future. It is the author's responsibility to sell the books. You're going to hear me talking a lot about self-publishing during all of my videos. I own a traditional publishing company. What that means is anybody who uses the system that I teach in the workshop to write their books, I believe so much in that system for writing books that I will publish your book for free. And I'll put it in every bookstore in North America, and I will help you to design the cover, to lay it out, to get the right endorsements for the book. But that's where the publisher's job is finished. It's the author's job to actually make the book sell. And that's probably where authors make their second biggest mistake. So the first biggest mistake is that they don't write the book properly. The second biggest mistake is they don't know how to launch it, build up anticipation to it, and get people buying it. Now, the false belief, the story you're telling yourself is that nobody will buy my book. Nobody will buy my book. I'm not Tony Robbins. Nobody will buy my book. I'm not as big as those other gurus. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be. People who buy the type of book you're selling buy every book they can find on the subject. Let me give you an example. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever bought a self-help book, a nonfiction book that you bought because you wanted to learn a new skill? Write your comments below. Please write the comments below. I'll reply to them all. Okay, the next question I'm going to ask you is, did you buy one or did you buy many? See, that's what most people don't realize, is people that are buying self-help books in a specific area, they're buying them because they want to learn a new skill, and they don't just buy one. They buy many. They buy any that they see where their curiosity is piqued. They just buy the books. That's what they do. I have bought hundreds of books on sales and marketing because it's a topic that I always want to learn in. And any book I find that I think it has real value, I'm going to continue to buy it. So you can't tell yourself nobody wants to buy my book, because they do. The real situation or the real issue is, how do you find those people? And I'll tell you really quickly right now, because I don't want to bore you, but here's exactly how you do it. First of all, you figure out who is that person, and you go out and you do market research, and you find out who in the current time. So what are the fastest growing? What are the books that are topping the charts right now in that genre? Don't go after historical books, because this strategy will not work. But what you want to do is you find out who they are, and then you look at how they're marketing their books. You want to do all kinds of market research. It's called hacking. And then once you figure that out, all you're going to do, this is so simple, is you target the people that are already buying the exact type of books that you're selling. You target them, and you use an offer to get them to buy your book. So you basically build a little e-product of some sort, a mini course, a PDF guide, something that you give them for free when they purchase the book. And you use a strategy that's completely organic. It has to do with consistent, high-value social media posting with a link embedded in every post, targeting the people who are already buying books in the genre, and the books sell. Now, listen, the strategy is a little bit more detailed than that, but that's the gist of it. And I can promise you that anybody that's watching this video, if you had a book that failed, if you had a book that the sales have not been what you wanted, I guarantee you didn't do the thing I just said. Go identify the people that are already buying the books and figure out the right targeting strategy to target those people. Put your book in their face and they will buy it. It's that simple. For more of the details around how to actually do that, go to the workshop. I explain it all in the workshop in freaking detail. Inside of that basic simple system workshop that I'm telling you about over and over again right now, have you clicked on that link yet? It's all, I tell people exactly how to write a book so that people will read the entire book and they'll recommend it to other people. So that's step one. Step two is launching the book or publishing it. But don't worry, if you write the book using my system, we're going to publish the book for you for free. We're going to put it in every bookstore in North America, guaranteed. And it's going to have a title and a layout and a cover that people are going to love, because that's the publisher's job to do those things. It's your job to sell the books. So the other part I'm going to show you, I teach how to write the book, I teach how to publish the book, and I teach you how to promote the book. But you'll love, the best part about promoting the book is it's not centered around paid advertising. It's knowing who's buying the books already and then creating content on social media that they want, that intrigues them, that interests them, and putting the book in front of them. It's really that simple. It's the same reason that some of you guys today have bought Robert's book, because this book was written using our system. So if you want to see the quality of the books, an example, buy this one. I'm going to do that from now on, because it's just another way I can listen. I've helped people publish hundreds of books that are really amazing. So why not tell you about one every time I come and hang out with you? Anyway, that's why books fail. That's exactly why they fail. And if you follow this system, your book won't fail. It's that simple. Do yourself a favor. If anything, today I've proved to you that there's something I know that you don't, and I can only give you so much in this session. But the workshop is a full hour, and I walk it out in detail. I show you the system for writing a book so that people will read it and recommend it. I show you how to get a traditional publishing deal so you don't have to get stuck in that self-publishing garbage. And then I show you how to target people who are already buying books in the niche that your book is in, and how to get them to buy them so your book won't fail.